Jay Anderson here, and I am with the man of the evening, so to speak, Mr. Chad Stokes. Chad, welcome. Thank you for taking the time to talk to us.
My pleasure. Good to be here.
So you might know Chad from a band called State Radio. You might know him from his extensive community activism. You might know him from a little band called Dispatch. Or you might know him from the grocery store down the street, because don't you live up the road?
I do. Jamaica Plain.
JP, why we're here this evening? It's the culmination of a very special weekend for you guys. It's the 6th annual Calling All Crows benefit weekend. And I know since 2008, you guys have done some pretty amazing things.
We just wanted to make our life more than just the inside of venues as we toured around, and so we started doing service projects, and it was a cool way to meet up with folks. And so we started off with refugee camps in Sudan to try to help the women and children there. And it's been a wonderful 6 years with amazing people coming out, fans coming out to meet us before shows and getting dirty with us, and painting, shoveling, standing on street corners.
Well, that's very much what I think is the most unique thing about what you guys are trying to do, is that it's very much a collaboration. It's not you, the artist, preaching to the fans. It's you, the artist, saying, hey, come join me.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome. You get to hang out with people and you get to know them over time. You know, it's been cool.
One thing that sticks out in my mind is in 2010, when you were in town at the Pavilion with John Butler Trio, you partnered with Bikes Not Bombs, and you made everybody ride a bike out to the Pavilion.
I think one of the worst things about being on the road environmentally is all the emissions, from the vehicles on the way to concerts. The band and the fans. So one of the best things any band can do is have shows where public transportation or there's a great bike lane.
Does your tour bus still run on veggie oil?
Yeah, it runs on biodiesel, and our van is also biodiesel, and we try to fill up and find, the system's against you. Sometimes we go way out of our way in Wyoming or whatever to find this, guy who hand cranks the diesel himself, so it does take an effort.
But what about Sybil, your tour manager, when you guys went 40 hours out of the way, you've got a sound check 200 miles this way?
Very volatile situation, say that.
And another part that, one thing that Calling All Crows offers is it's called an alternative break tour. Could you talk to us about those, what those entail?
Yeah, that's been one of our most fun things. It's like we rent a bus and a bunch of kids shadow us for 6 days. It started off being, instead of going to Cancun or whatever, come on the road with this band. We've done it all over the world, where bands get in the bus right behind us, and we hang out, and we kind of tandem tour around the country.
It's funny, it's not exactly what, when you picture tour bus, you picture being on the road. I'm picturing Def Leppard, in the mid-'80s. That wasn't quite what I had drawn up, but...
Yeah, it's like getting up early, and you got blisters on your hand and from shoveling, so it's a different scene.
So, you guys, as we've mentioned, you've done so many types of things. You've done everything from cleaning up a beach to removing invasive species of plants. Is there any one event, I don't want to say cause, because you guys, you have countless causes. Is there any one event or project that really sticks out to you, one that you'll remember for the rest of your days, so to speak?
I really like the activist stuff, with like the anti-death penalty or in favor of gay marriage, and it's emotional and it's risky, and you're not always welcome, and in different cities depending on what cause you're pushing. So down in Georgia, where Troy Davis was killed, we went down there and did a bunch of write-a-thons and held up signs in the city there. In Atlanta, went to the courthouse and stood there in protest of what they were going to do and what they ended up doing. I'm about to be killed by the state of Georgia. I think that one's, pretty close to my heart.
I know that means a lot to Troy. A lot to him to know that 5,000 people in Boston were thinking about him for 4 minutes.
So shifting gears a little bit, what's going on this evening? Now, over the course of the history of the Calling All Crows benefit, you've done everything from fire up the state radio machine, bring them here. You've hopped up there with your friends from RX Bandits and White Buffalo. What's in store for us this evening?
I have a lot of people from my hometown of Sherburne here, a small town. But my friend Wes is playing bass. My friend Mark has helped singing. My two brothers are playing trombone, singing, and dancing with me. My friend Darren, also from Sherburne, singing lead on a couple songs. So
Now, are they musicians in their own right, or were they just sitting around one day at some investment bankerage firm?
And Wes is a musician in his own right. He's an unbelievable bassist. The others I'm plucking out of their their regular lives to.
So that's why one of them is just dancing, or is it dancing and trombone?
Well, yeah, we're terrible horn players. We're not professional, so you'll hear that. We're also not great dancers. So, and my brother just asked. He's playing the banjo tonight. He had just asked me. He's like, "Can you just tell everyone that I've never played banjo in front of anyone before?"
No, that's what the bar's for. We'll open that up nice and early. Nobody will ever even know.
Yeah. For him, he needs to drink a lot.
So speaking of playing in front of a hometown crowd, you've really done it all. You've played the House of Blues. You've sold that out. You've sold out Paradise. You've sold out the Garden. You've even sold out Comcast Center. Was there any point in any of those iterations where you actually sat back and said, "I've made it"?
Probably playing the Garden, because Great Woods was like that too, the Comcast Center. Just, to think of when we used to try to jump the fence and we were just so psyched to be there, and that to us what seemed like we're gods on stage, and it never really sets in. It's never really like, you never really believe it. Had these really cool milestones and shows, but it's hard. Sometimes it's hard to believe because it is really like a dream come true. So it's, but you never think you're as good or as cool as the people that I was going to see at Great Woods or the Garden,
When you're preparing for a show and you're thinking to yourself, I could never be as cool as X band that I go to see, does that I don't know, does that just make your nerves go through the roof, or is the preparation a little different when you're playing in front of the hometown crowd?
Well, you just want to be worthy, that's the whole thing. You have to hype yourself up enough so that you actually walk on stage. But you also want to have those nerves so that you get your parts right and so that your mind is on it. It's not like we're on tour. So we're doing all these songs, some of them new songs that have never been played by a band. So I just hope that we get up there and we can play it well enough so it doesn't seem like we're thinking, because there's going to be a lot of thinking going on tonight.
So you're a supremely busy guy. You've done it all, very active, something new every day. What's in store for 2014?
We're recording these new songs in Chicago with a guy named Brian Deck and Sam Beam from Iron and Wine. They're going to co-produce the record in Chicago, and that happens all in January. And then I do another living room tour in February, and then a European living room tour in March.
Any festivals coming up?
Yeah. There's some Dispatch festivals. Oh, there's a folk festival in Colorado in August. That's cool because Dispatch can kind of lean that folky way.
After all, he cannot speak or walk. Let's send him at the moon, do circles round the sun.
It's fun to be, accepted by the folk world.
Speaking of, is that sort of what's on your iPod these days? Is that what you're listening to, that new sort of folk movement that's coming to fruition over the last few years?
I like a lot of that stuff. There's a lot of good music now compared to the 80s. I listen to ERS a lot, 88.9. Yeah. They play some good tunes. So I'm into a lot of music. That's a lot of new music, and a lot of it is that folky. There's a lot of harmonies these days, and so I've always been into that stuff. So it's a good time for music.
Chad, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it. Have a great show this evening, and all the best with all your Calling All Crows endeavors.
Thanks.
And you at home, head on over to callingallcrows.org. Read up. You can donate. You can volunteer. You can get involved. And if we all got involved, I think we could all really do something special. So again, Chad, thank you, and back to you guys.
Catch Dirty Water TV Saturday and Sunday night at 11:30 on Nessun, because the party never stops on Dirty Water TV.